Hey everybody, it's November 14th. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasravi coming to you live as we do every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about U.S. immigration law, take your questions for general educational content so you have a better idea of what's going on in the U.S. immigration system. To the extent we could do it possibly. If you're interested in a fiance or marriage green card case, you should download our guide free at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And you can learn more about that process down the 40-plus page PDF that breaks down piece by piece the process. I think it's going to help you a lot. We're going live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So we're all over the place. Good girl good night, says good night. Good night to you as well. Thank you everyone who's joining in. We've got dozens and dozens of people jumping in right now. Just ask your questions wherever you are. We'll do our best to answer. Try not to ask the same question over and over again. It makes it hard to keep track of things. And again, I'm immigration lawyer John Kasravi. We handle U.S. immigration cases from across the world. Our location does not matter. It's a virtual firm. And I'm barred in California, but because immigration law is federal, we could take cases from everywhere. You just got to be sure it's a case that our firm handles, it's within our expertise and all that. So that's why we kind of get into this stuff. For example, we have a question. JB asked, the VAWA was approved on July 2022. Adjustment of status interview on January 2023. No decision. How much longer for a decision? Well, we could generally answer that, which is no answer. It depends on whenever they want to get around to it. So unfortunately, it's just more waiting. But that's that. Simply says, what if you don't have a joint bank account? I think that's in reference to a marriage case. That's fine. You don't have to have a joint bank account. If you have one, it's good, but you just show other evidence of your relationship. So all that's possible. Sambria says, what is the estimated time for an I-130 for spouse from Texas? Let's assume you're a U.S. citizen. In general, I-130s are taking 12 to 13 months on average. It could be longer or shorter for your case because they're just so inconsistent. Debda says, hey, how are you, sir? I'm doing good. If you have any questions, please let me know. Another question, Google asked, my B1, B2 visa was canceled. Can I get an H-2B work visa? Well, you need to find an employer that's going to petition for you, first of all, for that. But I don't know. I got to see the reason why your B1, B2 visa was canceled. Was there some fraud and misrepresentation? Were there some crimes? Was there an overstay? What was the reason for that? Depending on what the reason was, it could affect your ability to get future visas. Potentially may need you to have a waiver, which takes forever now to get approved. So you just kind of have to see what's going on in your case to be able to answer that. That goes more towards individual guidance, and that would require a private consultation. Email me for that. Dr. Sachin says, I have a B1, B2. What should I do if I want to be legal to stay? Well, you got to find some method, probably some employment-based method or family-based method to stay in the United States. If you do great work, there's NIW, extraordinary ability visas, which you've been getting for STEM majors. There's national interest waiver, not extraordinary ability, but contact schedule consultation and we can see what's going on there. Real Shadabi says, hi, is it possible that the National Benefits Center approve adjustment of status after they ask for RFE or to send the local office? Yeah, that's definitely possible. Mo says, hi, John, if I request an expedite to National Visa Center, does that have any impact on my interview day, regardless of the result of the expedite? It shouldn't, but it depends also. I don't know what basis you're making the expedite request on. So if you all of a sudden say I need expedite request because I'm not making enough money, that can affect the affidavit of support, for example. So it depends. I can't give you a catch-all thing like that because I don't know the full story of what you're telling the MVC. But usually it doesn't, but it depends. Deb says, can you help me about asylum grant from a long time ago? I'm waiting for a response. We don't handle asylum cases, Deb. So unfortunately, I can't advise you on that. Prunell says, hey, John, how long is it taking for a decision after asylum interview? After all interviews, it's up to the government. And Dr. Saj says, as per I-94, my stay lasts until on March 14, 2023. So I want to settle over here in USA. Schedule private consultation to see what's going on. It's very hard to get status on a B1, B2 case trip, but we got to just talk to see what's going on in your case. So hit us up. All right, Gemini asks, my I-130 was approved. How long will it take you to get the green card? That depends on if you're doing consular processing or adjustment of status, and then it depends on what kind of family relationship you had, the embassy or field office handling it, and a lot of luck. So there's no fixed answer to what you're asking for. HS says, my form I-130 travel documents. You got to ask your questions. Dr. Sachin, yeah, you get too much into your personal details in a public forum, Dr. Sachin. So I would recommend scheduling a consultation with the office. If you go to jqqlaw.com, there's a button for schedule a consultation. There are consultation fees, be aware of it, but the amounts are listed on the website. You can check it out for yourself. Simply that's how long is I-485 taking right now? It varies. HS says, if somebody's coming, I-131 is coming in a week, can I trust USCIS and its timing? No, you can't. It's all over the place. Tara says, USCI is taking long, been waiting since August 2022. If no approve I-130, I haven't noticed late day followers get approved. That's within normal processing time. Unfortunately, they just take a while, but waiting, 12, 13 months is probably much the norm for an I-130. I'm not even sure what kind of I-130 you have, so I can't say for sure. But unfortunately, these things just take a long time. 99, it says, I got DQ email from NBC and said I'm in line for interview, but my final date is not current yet. It means that you got to wait for your location on the visa bulletin to become current. So when you start your case, you got what's called a priority date. You probably have preference category case. If you go to the visa bulletin, it's just type in Google visa bulletin, and then the first page there. Every month, there's a visa bulletin that gets updated and says which priority date cases can move forward depending on the case type that they have and what country they're born in. I have video analysis on YouTube on how to do this, but that means just got to wait for it to be current. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Just try to avoid asking questions about timeline. A regular parent Android says, PSA, no processing time question. Don does not know. The USCIS does not know. And that's unfortunately the truth. No one really knows. Only God knows what's going on with these timelines. Leah, so my question is that I arrived in the U.S. as a follow the joint asylee last September. Good for you. And still don't have my Social Security card nor my green card. Should I wait more? Well, if you came in as an asylee, you should go to the Social Security office to get one Social Security office. So that's on you to do that. And you got to file for a green card. So just because you came in as an asylee and follow the joint doesn't mean you're going to get a green card. You got to apply for the green card. So probably what you should do is talk with the immigration lawyer in private to get the full breakdown of what's going on. Schedule time with our office. We do handle these cases. Mo asks, does visa bulletin show the immigrant visa wait time like I-130? No, they don't publish the wait times for getting an interview or something like that. It does show the immigrant visa wait time. Yeah, exactly, for preference category, not the wait time to get to an interview, just where they are in line for people who do get green cards. Moses says, my I-765 based on I-821 has been 9 months, never received. What should I do? Based on I-821, is that, I don't handle I-821's asylum or something like that, right? Temporary protected status. How long has it been? 9 months. It's not too often. Call USCIS. Just call them up, see what's going on. Estimate, okay, for I-130 for a spouse of a green card holder, that case is taking forever, two plus years, Sambria, so that's going to take forever. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, just have to give that info. Let's see. Negin says, hi, Mr. Khosravi. Apparently, changing names is not an option while filing out an N-400 application, and it's a post hoc process. I wonder how is the process. So, the form for citizenship for N-400 has a place for you to change your name. Unfortunately, especially after COVID, to be able to change your name at the end of the day, a judge has to come and give that approval. But after COVID happened, judges stopped coming to oath ceremonies for N-400s, and you have like USCIS employees approving it or something like that. Essentially, most field officers, if not all of them, have stopped doing name changes, even if you request it, because they don't have the statutory procedure way of having a formal name change. So what you got to do is contact your local state court, and because it's state-based, not all the work I do is federal, so I can advise on that, talk all about federal stuff here. But only state stuff I can advise on are based on the state. I have a bar, which is California. So in California, if you go to the website for the Superior Court, there's a do-it-yourself name change format there. You can do it yourself, and that's just what you got to do, and that should fix it up. It's it's time-consuming, costs money, stuff like that, but they have systems for you to do it yourself. Just go to your local Superior Court, and in California, they call the first level state court a Superior Court. Other states have different names for them, so just look that up, and they'll be able to help you figure that out. Self-help your way through it. Leah says, no causes. Social Security told me they want I-94. I said I didn't get those. You should have got an I-94 if you entered the United States as an asylee, or you should have got some stamping or something like that. So, Leah, you got to talk with the attorney in private. It's too case specific here. Just says, how about spousal visa for U.S. citizens and K-1? How much time is taking nowadays? I won't, the explanation if it goes too long. I have videos on this on my YouTube page, AMZ, but it's going to take forever. It's going to take years, depending on what country they're from, especially minimum a year and a half, 2 years. Certain countries, twice that or triple that even. The K-1 visa is not better. It's pretty much worse in most cases. But Nazal says, if I have an approved EAD or work permit, does USCIS also send my Social Security number automatically, or do I need to apply for one from the Social Security office? So when you're filling out a work permit application form I-765 EAD, there's a spot that says, do you want us to get a Social Security number from you and send it to you? You say yes. When they updated the form to include this option for about a couple months, they would send it to you, but then after that, they completely failed. So once you get the work permit, you got to contact Social Security yourself just to get things going, because you can't rely on USCIS to do it and get your Social Security number. So practically speaking, you should do it yourself. Technically, they're supposed to do it, but again, practically is what matters here, and that's the situation. Umar says, I'm divorced and my green card is 10-year marriage-based green card. Divorce was finalized after mutual consent. Wonder what can be the challenge for my naturalization to 5 years if they ask for my relationship. And where I need to know more about your relationship and who you are and all that kind of stuff to be able to answer that question. Just want to make sure the relationship is real and green card is garnered properly. It'll probably be okay, but that's too case specific to talk about here. Leah says, also, embassy asked for my medical examination. Wasn't that for the green card? I don't know, Leah. That's why we got to talk in private. This is way too personal of a case. I need to see what happened. Because if you got the green card, then why'd you come in as an asylee? You may be misnaming stuff. It's just throwing me off. But I just got to review your documents to see what happened. It's not. I can't be able to answer further here on that. And Evan says, thank you, John. You're welcome. I wish I could have better news on these crazy timelines. Can a person who already has an ongoing marriage-based green card visa apply for a tourist visa? Does it going to affect the process? They could apply. Most times they'll deny it. But I've seen it be approved too. So just give it a shot. Just be honest and fill out the tourist visa forms properly. Is there a way to expedite my EAD card? Yes, I've done a lot of videos on this. You can make a request if you have a valid reason. And the follow-up, how long does it take to renew my EAD card as a asylee? Timelines vary. I don't know. Nagin says, thank you. You're welcome. And Bedazzle said, thanks. You're welcome as well. Bank Story says, I'm married 2018 in New York. And I can't see the rest of your question. Good Girl says, work in the U.S. and my B1 was canceled. So if they worked in the U.S. and they accuse you of fraud, you have a misrep claim. You have to get a waiver. So Good Girl, you got to schedule prior consultation to see what happened. Abdullah, my green card is expiring April 27. When do I file for 10-year? You have a 90-day window before the expiration of a 2-year green card to file for the 10-year green card with form I-751. If you want to schedule a consultation about that, please email the office. Mike says, if naturalization, FBI name check hit the name and date of birth, does it lead to denial? I don't know, Mike. That's too broad and confusing of a situation that you have. So I can't answer that. I'm says, what happened to the 6-month processing time that USCIS promised in mid-2021 for fiscal year 2023? That's a good question. What did happen? So instead of, they said we'll get everything done in 6 months, but a lot of stuff is taking like 18 months now. So that was and then even when they said it, I'm like, there's no way they could do this. And that's why people ask, hey, USCIS said my timeline is this. Why didn't this happen? They make all sorts of promulgations and judgments about how long things are going to take that they fail at. So it's a bureaucracy. They got their own troubles. I'm not bashing them too much, but it's like, that's why when people ask me how long things take, it's a bureaucracy. We really don't know. I wish I could give an answer to that so you could plan out your life, but I've been doing this for way too long and had to deal with wildly different. I've had marriage green card cases be approved in 2 months, and I've had them approved in 2 years. And so when people ask how much it is, and I say 2 months to 2 years, how much value is that? How does that help you plan your life? So I always say is like, I kind of average it out towards the conservative end and say probably this much, but it can be faster or slower. That's the honest, most rightful answer you can get, frankly, because of the way things work. Jam says, hi, can a person on a student visa marry a green card holder and apply for change of status? It's called adjustment of status. It is possible. There are issues with it right now because green card holders are preference cases, which means right now they have certain delays in it. So the time of filing, and it gets pretty complicated. I don't want to go too much into it here, Jam, but schedule a consultation in the office. We'll explain it to you and your spouse. And congratulations on getting married. Download the guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Check that out first, and then schedule a consultation with us, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. YTF says, I converted my B1 to F1 visa, but I didn't have printed on my passport showing it's F1 visa. What's your question? Guav says, how long is the VAWA with adjustment? I don't know. DJ says, how long does it take to bring your fiance to the United States? It takes years. If you want to go to fiance visa route, like at least 2 years. Wilson says, hello, attorney for I-360 file concurrently. How long? I don't know how long they are. My case was scheduled for interview, then canceled. It's been 2 months. This just goes to, I can't talk about timelines. Asia says, I'm a green card holder living in Texas. What is the estimated time to get all the processing done for marriage-based green card? Years if you're a green card holder. Right now, like 4 or 6 years. Could go down, could go up. I was denied entry at Atlanta. The immigration officer stated that I'm not banned from the U.S. So I got to read the transcript they took with you and see why they denied you entry. That might be the case that you don't have a ban. Can I get married before my 90-day visa is up? I don't know what kind of visa you're talking about, and I don't want to give individual guidance as to what you can do because I don't know your case. This is just for general guidance. Typically, 90-day timeline is for either visa waiver program or K-1 visa that people get married. So because there's not enough information, it's too personal, I can't really answer that. Can you apply for an NIW green card from abroad? Yeah, so you have to file the I-140 to get approved, and then you deal with consular processing. That's a typical case that we handle. Doc, send your resume to our office, info@jklaw.com. We'll take a free initial look at it. How long is I-131 taking? All over the place. Can I withdraw TPS filing before the biometrics appointment? You can withdraw whenever you want. Mr. Exotic says, how much is a consultation? Does that fee go towards the case? Check out our website. We have different attorneys at different prices on consultation. So go to jqqlaw.com and go to the schedule consultation page. You'll see that there. And typically we don't take the fees out unless there's an exception. And it really goes, if you pay in full within like 2 weeks, we may make a decision on that case-by-case basis, deduct the fee, consultation fees. But our consultation is so in-depth. We spend a lot of time, even over the time we have for the consultation, to work on it. Beforehand, we gather information. Afterwards, we gather information, we write stuff, we follow up. It's just so much time that, honestly, by the time we're done with the consultation, you can be like, I can't believe I got it at such a discounted price for the amount of work that we do. Really, we go overboard on that stuff. So I know money is tight and all that kind of stuff, but you got to analyze the level of service and time you get. It's hard for people to know because you're not hiring immigration attorneys. You're not comparing immigration attorneys because how often are you dealing with an immigration lawyer? So it's hard for you to know who's a good immigration, who's not, who's dedicated, who's not, who's gives us the time, who's not. But I guarantee you we're one of the most hands-on, one-on-one caring immigration law firms there is in the game. And you could just tell from our reviews, if you go to Google, what people are saying about our standards. So I really want you to take that into consideration when you're pricing things out. Proper says, how soon can I apply for after denial entry? Whenever you want, immediately. Now, whether they prove it or not, it's a different matter, but you can refile after being denied entry as soon as you want, but I'd have to review your documents, see if it's appropriate for you. Taznia says, do you recommend doing K3 to speed up approval? I don't provide recommendations on this show. User A3 says, besides the waiver that's hard to get, is there any way around the 10-year ban? I got to look at your individual case to see if some exception exists. Android says, I got married to U.S. citizen while I'm on in removal proceedings. I filed an I-130, but before that, 2 years ago, I filed for asylum based on being gay. I got married to a woman and a man. Android, it's possible. I have a case pending right now, a similar situation. They weren't in removal, but before removal. But we got to see what's going on there. So it's too case specific, Android VR. Alan says, I-24, how long? Already 9 months? Forever. It could be another year. It could be another month. It's all over the place. And Daniel says, attended my citizenship interview. I passed. The officer told me I can't make a decision, but he will contact legal team. I didn't hear anything. It's about 3 months. Yeah, that happened. So you didn't necessarily pass if he's still working on it. But just wait, or if you want to sue them or complain and stuff like that. M says, to be honest, they've improved the waiting for tourist visas in India. It used to be over 600 days, but now it's 37 days, and some of the categories are like a week. Yeah, for non-immigrant visas, it's gone faster, but for other kind of cases, immigrant visas, not really, unfortunately. So that's been a major disaster. I can't comment on how long things are taking or how long they're pending and stuff like that. It's just every case is different. So at this point, after 17 minutes of repeating this stuff, I'm just going to skip questions about timelines, unfortunately. Is there other way to bring my spouse faster to bring my spouse to the United States? I don't know. I got to see what's going on in your case to be able to advise on that, because every case is different. There might be some options for you that are someone else that are not available to you, or vice versa. So that's it. And your green card holder bring a spouse, unfortunately, that's a disaster right now. The timelines is I've had couples just engaged couple break up when I told them the timeline is pretty bad. Okay, so we got a ton of processing times questions I got to go through that are here. So I'm just going to have to skip them, unfortunately, and try to get some questions about content or, media work kind of stuff. After USCIS sent you a letter, they receive your documents. How many months do you have to wait for biometrics? It varies. Hi, Elon. Wow, we got a lot of timeline questions, so I got to maybe right here. Can a wrong I-94 departure record trial history be problematic for adjustment status? It can be. You got to try to. There's no way to fix it because CBP probably won't fix it, but you need to keep evidence and stuff like that. Randomly, an officer will say, "Oh, you left," and you may have entered without permission, which doesn't make sense. But I've heard, and it never happened to me, but I've heard it'd be problematic. So you got to kind of have explanation and show proof that you didn't leave. That's the safest way to do it. Probably not going to be asked, but you want to be careful for that for adjustment status. M says, that's my point. They can speed up tourists. In other case, why can't do that for family-based ones? I don't know, Embassy. That's a good question. Bruce asks how that works if someone from Iran with the Mexican visitor visa went to the southern border, asked for asylum, are they getting paroled in? I don't handle these cases, frankly, so I don't keep track of exactly how that's done. Okay, let's skip a bunch of questions. Hirosoka says, if a spouse is applying for I-130 while in the United States and they overstay the visa, is that a problem? If they're married to a U.S. citizen on its own, that's not a problem. If a green card holder, yeah. There might be other issues, though, we have to check out. On an F1 visa, but want to adjust the status and drop out of school, what visa option do you advise? I don't know. It's what you can get. It's not what I advise. I don't know anything about you. YG says, hey, I got mail from Selective Service, but I haven't got my papers. Is that normal? I don't know what you got and stuff, so I got to see for myself. I can't answer that. Gina says, I got accepted to immigration. Me and my family 7 months ago. We only got the visa for 3 of us, but not my husband. His visa is still processing. What can I do? I don't know. You contact them, sue them, or something like that. But I have to see what's going on with your case first, see what their background. Can an F1 visa student who worked unlawfully get a green card by marrying a U.S. citizen? Potentially, but we have to analyze if you commit any fraud to get that job. You claim to be a U.S. citizen falsely, use a fake passport or something like that. We got to check it out. Elizabeth says, can you still work while you wait for the decision on I-751 solo? Yeah, your green card has an automatic extension with the filing receipt. I applied for a reentry card and I'm waiting for about 6 months. Can you stay out for 6 months outside the country? You can if you want to. They're probably gonna be cool with it. It's a reentry permits usually didn't take this long, so you would have got it by now. But under the current circumstances, it's up to the discretion of the CBP officer who you enter. But I can't imagine if you have a receipt for for I-131 reentry permit pending, and it's up because of the government's delay that you haven't got it, that CBP would have a problem with it or hassle you about it. But it's up to their discretion at the end of the day. How long for advanced parole? I-130 after marriage U.S. citizen? 8 or 9 months probably. Can you travel when you're on probation for DUI? It depends. If you're a green card holder or citizen, all this kind of stuff, it depends. You probably can, but there's issues on reentry if you're a green card holder or a visa holder. So and you haven't listed what your background is, so I can't give you a proper answer. And then it says, could you explain about perm process for non-STEM field of study? Essentially, you got to find an employer. They say they want to hire a foreign person and how much it costs, and then they interview people and put ads to see if someone else can fill in that position. If no one can, they can put in the I-140 process for you to get your green card. Unfortunately, it's taking a bit of time right now. Everything's delayed on that. Can I work remotely in my home country while waiting for change of status? There's no clear answer to that. We have to break down we don't have time to have to break down what's potentially happening, what kind of case you have. Is it based on you're a citizen, what you've said in previous applications, what specific type of work it is. There's more analysis I have to do to be able to even begin to answer that question. I have pending VAWA and I have a 204C on my file from 2014. They issued me work, please. Is there hope? 204C is a fraud, marriage fraud kind of thing. I haven't had it or seen it when someone does VAWA with that pending, so I don't know how it works for that. So you got to talk to the immigration in private. Hello, I want to change my legal name. Would you please explain the process? This is an immigration show. Changing legal name is a bureaucratic thing. You go to the website for local court process and they can handle it for you. It's not immigration, so it's not something I'll talk about here. Can a ticket violation affect your citizenship application? Should you let USS know the form? Depends on what kind of ticket it is. Shafak says, does age difference matter for spousal visa? It can if you don't have other evidence of relationship or history. I'm not worried about this. I had a woman contact me actually last week, and she went to another famous firm, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're so much older than your husband. You must be doing fraud, or no one's going to believe you, this and that. Very rude kind of stuff. Couldn't believe it. But I do these cases regularly. If you're really a couple, and you have evidence of relationship, all that kind of stuff, and everything else looks good, then yeah, it's love. Love is love. D Black says, I got my green card April 2022. 2-year mark is April 2024 through marriage. Can I instantly apply for citizenship April? No, you got to be a minimum of 3-year citizenship unless you're married to someone who's worked for like a military, who's traveling, or a U.S. corporation or something like that. But other than that, you got to wait the full 3 years of being married and living with a U.S. citizen. Rhodes says, I'm a dreamer and married to a U.S. citizen. Okay, we got to see your background, if you got DACA or not, if you have travel visa or not, or if you came in with admission or not, Rosie. So contact the office, schedule a consultation, see what we could do. We've helped people in this scenario frequently. NC says, what are the questions K1 interviews typically ask? That's too broad to be talking about here. Yeah, how do I go back to my questions? Okay. Affidavit support from part 2. Who is the principal immigrant? This is the beneficiary that you're asking for, the spouse or parent or child or brother or sister. That's them. Crystal says, can I attend my adjustment status interview if my U.S. citizen spouse refuses to attend? You could attend it. There's a good chance you get denied, unfortunately. So you need to talk to the lawyer in private to see what to do. Dr. Law says, I'm applying for a reentry card and I'm waiting for about 6 months. Can you answer that question? Would like to know if an African living on the island traveled to another country. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, we got 5 minutes to answer some good ones. Can I visit the USA on a tourist visa for sightseeing every month? You can always give it a shot. It's up to people at the airport if they let you in or not. Okay. Is there any way I can bring my cousin that lives in Egypt and Yemen? They need to apply for visas. When you say there's any way, it's like you gotta have specific questions. It's not the proper kind of question phrasing. We need to know exactly what's going on in their situation and see if an option exists. That requires time. We got to study the people's background. That's really it, and it's not the forum to do it here. Okay, repeat questions. Fahim says, Can I apply for a green card for my parents while they're waiting for a visitor visa to the United States? You can. It's probably going to lead to their visa being denied, but it's possible. Furry says, I have a pending, or answer that question. Mala says, I applied for my adult son, I-130, when I was a green card holder. Now I'm a citizen. Should I let USCIS know that I'm a U.S. citizen? Change that with the I-130 petition for my adult son? You pretty much don't want to do that because first of all, your son has to remain unmarried. That's really important. They could get married now that you're a U.S. citizen, but it's slightly faster for the government to assume you're a green card holder. There's a way for you to keep yourself considered a green card holder, even though you're a citizen, because adult children of green card holders, F2B category, are slightly faster than F1 category adult unmarried children of U.S. citizens. I feel like I'm talking really fast. Sorry about that. But it might not be a good idea to switch it, or you at least tell the government, I don't want to switch it. Under the Child Status Protection Act, CSPA, they allow that. This is why I need an immigration attorney. There's no point in trying to learn this stuff yourself. Just talk with a good attorney and work your way through that. D-Black says, it doesn't matter that I got my green card 2 years after already being married. I got married. No, filing for citizenship is based on the issue date of your green card. My husband has social anxiety and can't do interview. Can I go back to my home country, do it alone? If you leave, there's consequences. You're going to have to wait forever, and it's suspicious that you left. So, Teth, you got to talk to the attorney in private. That's a weird situation you got to deal with. Rosie follows up. I'm a dreamer. I'm married to a U.S. resident. Once he becomes a citizen, how long do I have to? Rosie, there's a lot of stuff you got to do to fix that up. Contact, because we got to learn about your own background first and then figure out the citizenship stuff. So, schedule a consultation is the best way to talk about it. Tape says, can I work remotely? I already answered that question. Can a green card holder file for spouse and children while in the U.S. on visiting visa? There's the F2A category. There's issues with it. It may be possible, but we got to see if there's no misrep for them coming on tourist visa, Linty. So it's a little bit of a complex situation. We got to see, okay, what was the intent when the family entered, and what are the filing deadlines for filing? So there's a lot that has to be analyzed based on the entry date, what the visa bulletin is doing, how soon the case will be prepared. There's a lot going on there, Linty, in the background, any previous violations. So it's maybe possible, but there's like a 20-minute, 25-minute discussion to figure out what to do exactly on that situation. Silence says, can a F1 visa holder start a business in the United States? They can't work. So if they invest in some company that started a business, that may be one thing. But they can't work. So starting a business depends on what you mean by that. That's so we'd have to see what's going on. How long does it take to get an asylum interview? Up to the asylum office. All right, we got 3 minutes. NIV, I'm 40. Search. Hold on. I don't know what you're talking about, Bital. Nimrod says, how long does the embassy take to schedule an interview? Up to the embassy. How long does it take to receive a green card once approved? Usually a week or two, but sometimes a year, and sometimes it gets lost. For a fiance visa, do they require us to send passport, ID, etc. for the beneficiary? Depends on how you're doing it. For the visa application, yes. For the adjustment of status, yes. And these are copies of it, and bring the passport to the interview. For the I-129F, not necessarily, unless you need to prove something through that passport filing. So it depends on what you're doing with the case. Marsha says, is it okay for me to visit the U.S. every month? Answer that question. Okay, getting the repeats again, so I'm going to skip through everything again. Is there a minimum income to apply for a spousal visa? It's check out Form I-864 and it's online, and look for your family size, how much it's going to be. If you're like a U.S. citizen and married to a foreign person in your family of two, it could potentially be essentially like 24,000 something, 25,000, something like that. But check out the Form I-864P for the answer to that. Can a U.S. citizen dad file for a child even though his name is not on the birth certificate? We have to see how we could prove the father's really the father's. It's maybe possible, but we have to see what's going on and why that is that's not listed on the birth certificate, and how we could prove the relationship. Patrick says, hi, can I adjust my H-2B status? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know enough about you to say that. Miss says, is there a minimum income to apply? We already answered that question. D Black says, thank you. You're welcome. After I-130 approval, should a U.S. citizen spouse then apply for I-475? What's the best process? So there's no I-475. Hirosoka, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you typically file for I-485 together. The fact that you haven't means you definitely need a scheduled consultation with our office to figure out what's going on. Download our guide first, so you'll see probably the error you're making and how you held yourself up by filing just an I-130 alone, but I may be wrong. Check it out. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. See the information there, Hirosoka, and then schedule a consultation with my associate because you may have like unnecessarily delayed your life by not filing together, if that's appropriate. Okay, we're getting a lot of repeats, questions. Can a person? I don't answer SIP stuff. You're not answering. That's why we're asking again. I'm answering. People like I see the same questions being asked over and over again. That answer just that people don't pay attention because I go through so many questions. I think they don't hear it, but I'm just trying to answer as many people as possible, so it gets lost. Sue says my address was used in an ongoing green card case. Can me and my spouse still apply? I don't know what you mean. My address was used in an ongoing green card case. Schedule a private consultation. Kayla, I specifically answered your question. Okay, so let's look that. Hirosuk, I answered your question. Remy says, how do you feel about advanced parole with DACA and travel to home country of Jamaica? It's not about how I feel, but if you have advanced parole and you don't have criminal history or issues that could prevent you from coming back in, then do it if it's urgent enough for you. Let's see. So Denson, F2A waiting in Illinois. Will my category change if I turn 21 before I get through? I'm now 20. If you file for adjustment of status already, that's fine. But if you haven't filed for adjustment of status, then you're going to age out. I mean, you probably won't because your I-130 pending time can be deducted for CISPA purposes, but it depends. We got to see what's going on with your case. I don't want to give individual guidance without knowing exactly what's going on, what you've done. All right, we're actually over 30 minutes. So thank you for joining. I'll take one more question on TikTok and we'll call it a day. Last question is, if F1 visa worked unlawfully with LLC but filed taxes, could you adjust that to marry a U.S. citizen? Unauthorized employment is waived in most cases for marriage to a U.S. citizen, but we got to see what you said and what you did in that business before I can say that for sure. Probably you're okay, but again, without reviewing your individual case, I can't make that kind of like recommendation on the fly without you know who you are. We just have your synonym over here, or your screen name over here. And then Simon says, is it true that some officers, marriage-based green card interview officers, asked to check personal phones to check your activity? Is it wise to not carry a phone at all during the interview? Sometimes they do ask for that. Sometimes it's wise not to. Sometimes it is. Depends on what you want to do. I once had a couple who didn't have much evidence of their relationship. They went to the interview, and the officer asked to see their phone. I could have said no, but because we had so few evidence, I'm like, okay, let's do it. And the officer checked the phone, and he saw that the couple had a big fight the night before about someone taking out the trash and not taking out the trash. And he laughed and he's like, well, after reading this argument, I know you guys are really a couple. So it worked to their benefit because they didn't have that much evidence, but the phone did. And that's why I kind of felt I let him go ahead with it. But it depends. If you got some crazy stuff on your phone, yeah, don't have it. But that's that. Thank you, everyone who joined. We can't get through all these questions. As you see how rapid fire I'm going through all this kind of stuff, trying to answer everything I can. Best thing to do if you really want to talk about your case, schedule a consultation with their office, JQK Law Firm. The email is info@jqqlaw.com. Again, that's info@jqqlaw.com. Email me, schedule a time with me or my associates. Check out our videos on YouTube. Pretty much every question asked here, we've done a video on it on YouTube so you can find it. But talking with somebody one-on-one is always something different. That's something that AI can't take away, having that human interaction. Maybe it will, but not for now anyways. Until next one, we'll see you Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm immigration lawyer John Kostravi. God bless, be safe, and we'll connect soon. Bye-bye.